Hey Kenra, it's your girly Low Wheeler, and I'm going to create this beautiful beachy effect in the hair. This is so creative and so simple. We probably painted her whole head in about 15 or 16 minutes, and you can really do this with ease and confidence on literally anyone in your salon and get these beautiful soft results. So let's see how it's done. I would like to paint on our balayage technique in vertical sections so we are able to connect these layers into the overall design. And we're going to mix up our blue powder lightener plus 30 volume. Our objective is to create pie-shaped sections so that we can plant in these really beautiful connected vertical ribbons. This is going to give us such a pretty effect in the hair, and they're going to be pretty straightforward. What you see is what you're going to get here. So I'm going to be working back and forth from section to section. So whatever I see on her right side, I'm going to go ahead and create the mirror image on her left. This is just going to give us a nice symmetry and balance of lift and control over my result. What we're creating is a single ribbon effect. This is going to give us a lot of contrast and balance in the hair. When you paint away a lot of the natural base, you tend to lose that contrast, but by taking neat little pie-shaped sections, you're able to create a visual of exactly where you want to see each dimensional strand. So just looking at how the pieces lie in the front, her little layer wanted to flip, so I wanted to make sure that the underneath of that section was coated too. Just most of these are going to be surface painted, but I could see her flipping the hair in the front, so we just wanted to look at that detail. And then something else that will be really cool to see is how we balayage bangs. So I'm just going to take little pie-shaped sections and continue that through her bang. So if you have somebody with a heavier blonde fringe, then you can go heavier and create a panel effect. Or in her case, it's not going to be overly light throughout her whole hair, so we can just paint on one little ribbon at a time. Okay, so we got these little ribbons planted in right at the bang, and then we were able to position a couple neater pieces of cotton in there. The thing that this is going to create is a very natural sun-done look that is very connected to beachy hair color that you would see out in the wild. When the sun naturally lifts the hair, it doesn't pick and choose a pattern that is grid-like at all. So just looking at where the sun would actually naturally hit the hair, it will create more of a natural lived-in and beachy look. We're also planting these pieces right along the surface of the outside of her hair, so you won't see me reach for deep sections moving horizontally because the sun wouldn't normally hit the inside of the hair in those areas. So for this reason, we're going to keep everything in these vertical sections. Now that we're in the corner pockets, I'm going to drop my elevation from these high points in here, and we're going to create just a little bit of soft color in a more tipped out manner. Natural beachy hair has a different pattern to it. We don't want to be too uniform with our placement here. Now we're going to look at just what would naturally peek through the bottoms, and we're just going to pick up sections and then tip them out. But the thing that I want to look for is creating visual space between other painted sections that I did. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm not putting two pieces of balayage near each other. So we're just gonna go ahead and paint these larger tip outs. We add enough space so that each one can really just shine on its own. So on this final crown section, I'm going to bring up the lightener a little bit higher, and then we're just going to look at our placement, because I'm going to go for a very subtle brick laid effect so that when she moves her hair, she has some symmetry without it being too uniform. A big part of this process is visually being clear on where you want to see those ribbons. I think that's one of the best parts about this technique, is that you can really just design the hair. Here we want to see a lot of brightness and contrast, so going in with these single strands is just a really nice practical way to get that aesthetic. Now that we're here, we're just going to let the product dry up and lift. I don't like to give a processing time, but what I can expect is to check her at the 45-minute mark and go from there. I could see how natural the base will be in between these colors, so we'll most likely choose a similar shadow route to her natural level and just assess that when we're ready to rinse. So here's our raw lift, which is like super pretty. What we want to see is a little bit more of a sandy finish. So we have 5 NA, 5 NUA to kind of bring in a bridge here, and then 8 NA to give like a bronze effect. So we're going to just feather this in so we can comb it through where we have the high points connect to her natural. And then we're gonna layer in a really soft sandy tone with that 8N. I'm just going to start at the back, and I can see right where I created that color placement, so I'm just gonna work that through. And I'm just gonna hit those mids first and just make sure it's so seamless. And then we're gonna jump to the other side. And the last thing we'll do is comb it all the way through to the very end. So now I'm gonna pick up where her bangs are, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring the 8 all the way through her entire bang. And I'm just gonna watch her as she processes. We'll probably process her for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll come back with their final result. Here is our end result, and she looks so natural. This just elevated her so much from just like a virgin hair girl next door to this beautiful luxed sandy beachy effect. This is what we have been able to achieve with this tone. So let's do a little recap on what we used to make this all come together. We did a really pinwheel-esque balayage application using ribbons and vertical sections to just plant really key dimensional pieces into her design, including her bangs. We lifted her with that 30 volume all the way up to a really nice level 8-9, and we toned her down with a 6 NA and then all over tone with an 8N. And this is the result. It's super soft, very luxe, and just beautiful. If you love this tutorial as much as I love creating it, Please like and subscribe to the Kenra Professional YouTube channel where you can see so much more, you guys. Check out my playlist because you'll find a ton of blonding tutorials from me and other fun techniques. See you there. Bye.